Today we're here to talk about the good old days.
Yeah. Yep.
Dennis the Menace. We're heading back. Yes.
So I'm guessing we're going to focus on the TV show. Of course, the TV show was based on the syndicated newspaper strip from the I want to say early 50s.
Yes.
And it like I said, it was syndicated, so it ran in the papers for all the time that I was a kid, and I read it all the time, right? I always read the funny papers and whatnot. But then I want to say it was Nick at Night. I mean, I'm sure they syndicated the show elsewhere, but yeah. So there you go. That's what is it? 1959. It looks like that says there. Copyright 1959. So that's when they started this TV show, live action TV show.
Yes, and I mean, did you grow up with Dennis the Menace? That's what I'm going to ask you, because I did. And it's kind of odd that I'm saying here that I grew up with a show from what, early 1960s? Is that when this aired?
Like I said, it looks like it says 1959 there. So,
that makes sense. Yeah. Late 50s. That makes perfect points to that. And anyway.
But no, I didn't really watch this much as a little kid. Like I said, all I knew of Dennis the Menace was the comic strip. And I remembered my mom and grandma talking about Dennis the Menace. But, I didn't realize they were talking about a TV show. I thought they were talking about the comic, which actually, for conversation's sake, didn't make any kind of a difference. Dennis the Menace and Mr. Wilson and all that kind of stuff. Didn't matter if you were getting your stories from the TV show or the comic strip. You basically got who Dennis the Menace was.
Was he worse in the comic strip than he was in the show?
No, very similar. I think they could do more in the strips because they didn't have to worry about, stunts and special effects and stuff like that. There's a lot of things you can do in comics that you can't do in real life.
So here we have the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, to be fair, I think they look like their comic strip versions, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Same outfit.
Absolutely. The father with the glasses, yeah.
Yeah, and we have, let's see here. There he is. Oh, see what's new for Mac OS 15. I got to take a half-hour break, guys. I'll come back. I'm sorry. Wait, no. Okay, anyway.
You can just get one of those pop-ups.
Yes. All right, so here we go, though. There's the overalls. There's him. And the thing is, you want to think the kid is a menace, but he is good-natured at heart, right?
Yeah.
He just does things that cause horrible mishaps, and I guess that's where the humor comes from.
There's a lot of things about him. He means well, but he doesn't know how to do the things he wants to do. He doesn't think things through. Way too much energy for his own good. Yeah, he's messing up, but he's got a good heart. He's never doing it to stick it to someone or He doesn't have any bad intentions.
No, this isn't like the Omen, the series. Don't get.
Yeah, right. Okay? Exactly.
This is all right, but there he is on his bike. And I was watching the episode today, so he'll be trying to help Mr. Wilson, who's trying to paint him. Mr. Wilson, I just want to be left alone, Yeah. But even Mr. Wilson, there's one of his friends, Yeah. They just look like troublemakers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And there's Mr. Wilson. So we'd always say, "Hey, Mr. Wilson," right? That was his catchphrase. And
exactly.
Mr. Wilson would be painting his house, and then he'd interrupt Mr. Wilson, and Mr. Wilson would start painting the window. And then, I'll help you by bringing this paint can over here. And then Mr. Wilson steps inside the paint can. Then his parents have to buy Mr. Wilson a new pair of shoes. And it's always gags like that. And
right, exactly.
I would imagine this is airing at the same time as shows like The Munsters and things like that. Right?
Sure.
So here we go. And but I think Mr. Wilson, it's kind of push and pull because I think he genuinely likes Dennis. He still sees him as a kid. It's just that, you're just a bit of a menace, see?
Exactly.
But you caught this on Nick at Night. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I caught this on Nick at Night or if I caught this on the Disney Channel. because we didn't get Nick at Night. This was one of these things where Nickelodeon would shut off and switch to another channel at 8 o'clock where I lived. So
I
we
see.
never got Nick at Night till much later. But Disney would show a lot of these old 50s sitcoms. They showed Ozzie and Harriet.
Sure.
And I believe they showed Dennis the Menace. So I watched a lot of these.
Makes sense,
and
yeah.
I will say this for Black and White. I think Black and White does have a timeless nature to it.
It does.
I kind of wish... Well, I don't know. I hear the younger generation can't watch Black and White, but I'm sure present company is excluded at this. But I do think it does lend a timelessness to what you're watching. He's not malicious, but something always went wrong. Yes.
And Jesse Guajardo, welcome, by the way, says, Troy, did you know Dennis the Menace ended up on Dairy Queen ice cream, fast food, as the mascot, just like Popeye the Sailor did for Popeye's Fried Chicken? Yes, I did know that.
I didn't know about Popeye for Popeye's Fried Chicken, but I do remember Dennis the Menace being associated with Dairy Queen. I never got to go to Dairy Queen that often. I don't know if they just didn't have in my area. My favorite thing, go to Dairy Queen, get the soft serve, and get it covered in rainbow sprinkles. That was my favorite thing.
And the thing about Dairy Queen was it became like, I don't know what the term is, but when you use a brand name for everything that's like it, because there was other ice cream shops like them, and one was Tasty Freeze. And
Tasty Freeze wasn't ice cream.
It wasn't?
No, it was a frozen dessert. How do I know this? I read the book Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut, and the character in that owns a chain of Tasty Freezes, and he says, but it is a frozen dessert, but it's not ice cream. That's what he says.
Right. Because there's U.S. regulations about what you can call ice cream. If it doesn't have enough milk fat in it, you can't say it's cream. So you say it's a frozen dairy treat or whatever.
Yes,
whatever. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Ice milk, ice cream.
It's fine.
It tastes just the same.
We have Culver's down here. They have custard, and actually, I know Dairy Queen. They would have the Blizzard, and the Blizzard I like because you could get any kind of candy mixed in with the ice cream, and I would do the chocolate ice cream with chocolate cherries. That's nice.
What I really liked was, and this is McDonald's fault. I used to really like McDonald's had the McFlurries,
yes,
with M&Ms, and I loved it.
Yes,
but as you know, those machines were always broken down. You could never get them. And then when you start hearing, maybe it's better that you don't get that from McDonald's because they don't really take very good care of cleaning those machines. I was like, well, you know what? I could just go and get a Blizzard at Dairy Queen with M&Ms, and honestly, it's the same exact thing.
Yeah, Culver's has a similar thing. They call it a concrete mixer. I guess like it's a mixing concrete, but it's really with custard. And you get two things to mix in with it. You get a choice of two things. You could do a fruit and a nut, or fruit and some candy, or a sauce and some candy. You can do whatever you want. But
fruits and nuts you can only get on the West Coast, right? I'm kidding. That's bad. Okay.
No, that's extra.
Colored jokes by Troy do not reflect directly on Geeky Geezers or the branding.
Can we go back to the late 50s when all was right with the world and owned really nice houses? Of course, the dad is an engineer, so that probably helps with that. Because I kept wondering, what does the dad do for a living? He's an engineer. Mr. Wilson is retired. Is that $100 bill he's got there?
Yes, he does.
Wow. And that was a lot of money in 1950s.
Well, look at that look on his face. Yeah.
I don't know. Did Dennis the Menace rob a bank or something? And yet Wendy's has Frosty and sold Pop Coke floats. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know they sold.
Oh, yeah. Those were good. Yeah.
They still have the Frosty. Apparently they have a Girl Scout Thin Mint Frosty right now. Mr. Wilson ended up getting switched out. This is Mr. Wilson's brother that ended up looking after the house while Mr. Wilson was settling in a state. I don't think Mr. Wilson was ever seen again. This is the 50s, finding out what exactly happened to the actor. They think it coincides with him having some kind of, I think, a coronary. So I think he probably died. So they had to replace the actor. Yeah. But they figure, we'll just have it be Mr. Wilson's brother, and we're not going to deal with the death.
Who is still Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, so you can still say, hey, Mr. Wilson. Yes.
Exactly.
And
you recognize that actor?
No. Who is it?
Let me see if anyone in the audience recognizes him.
Was he on Hogan's Heroes or something?
No. No.
Was he Harry Mudd on Star Trek?
No, he was not. That's okay. Give everyone a chance.
Gail Gordon from Lucy
Yep.
fame. Oh, okay.
Yep. That's absolutely right. Very, very good. That's right. I'm actually having a hard time remembering his character's name. It was Mr. Oh gosh.
He was on
But yeah, he was and it wasn't just on the Lucy show. It was like he was associated with Lucy and everything she did after that.
I wonder if this was a Lucille Ball production here. Were they involved with this maybe? Denny Lou?
Oh, I actually don't really know.
It's interesting. But there we go. Dennis Menace liked to carry around his cap guns everywhere. Which, believe it or not,
Mr. Mooney. That's it, Mr. Mooney. Thank you, JPRPH1. That's right.
Believe it or not, though, when I was around this age, I was also wearing cap guns and a cowboy hat. So,
everybody, all the boys did back then. Yeah.
Age boomer, see and holding $100 bill in your hands, like seeing $1,000, and today, probably, but what did I want to say? No, I got into wearing, when I got into dressing up as a cowboy after I saw the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly on TV.
Oh wow!
And I was like, I'm done. Clint Eastwood. I wanted to be Clint Eastwood from those movies, The Man with No Name. I was obsessed with those movies.
I dig it.
But let's see here, and there's got the two guns anyway. It's wholesome fun, but it was still funny. I'll say this, even though it was wholesome, it was still funny, and it wasn't really trying to like shoehorn a message into everything. Like I had grown up with shows like The Facts of Life and Different Strokes, the Norman Lear shows, and even the stuff that was on TGIF, like Family Matters, and
right.
There was always some kind of message underneath everything. There was like a lesson that we learned, and I don't think you had that as much in these early sitcoms. They were just straight up comedies, right?
Right.
And they weren't trying to do a moral. Now, I think that comes back with shows like Cheers and eventually Seinfeld and stuff where there really isn't. They're not trying to teach the audience a lesson. Of course, I would argue I learned more about having good manners from Seinfeld than I did from any etiquette books. So I'll say that for that show.
Fair enough.
But there we end here. I think the show lasted 4 seasons, 4 years, simply because I think the kid aged out of the role. You can't really be Dennis the Menace after a certain age, right?
That's kind of
a teenager.